There must be something I haven't played in a while. I'm getting sick of my usual games. Madden 13. I want to live today. Ultimate Spider-Man. Alright. Well then, here's a game I haven't played in a few years. And with the new PS4 Spider-Man game looking pretty cool so far, as well as Spiderman Homecoming being pretty dope, maybe I should go back and play a Spider-Man game I used to love as a kid.
Ultimate Spider-Man was developed by Treyarch and released by Activision in 2005 for the PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, and PC. There were also versions on the Nintendo DS and Game Boy Advance. This game had some big shoes to fill, being released only a year after the fantastic Spider-Man 2 video game based on the movie of the same name.
Now, when I was a kid, I was really excited for this game. First of all, I was a big fan of the other Spider-Man games I played.
Games like Spider-Man for the PS1, sometimes referred to as Spider-Man 2000, Spider-Man Mysterio's Menace on the Game Boy Advance, surprisingly, and the aforementioned Spider-Man 2.
Not you. Anyway, due to my other experiences with past Spider-Man games, I was really excited for this. There was also another huge reason. Got to play as Venom. Yeah.
This was a huge selling point for a lot of people, myself included, and when I finally got a hold of the game, it was just as amazing as I thought it was going to be.
I loved it. I played it all the time, but the main question is, how does it hold up today? Well, let's dig in and find out.
First off, I think the game does very well with its aesthetic. The cel-shaded graphics look nice, and the comic book motif is done very well, even if it is a bit disorienting at times during some cutscenes. So visually speaking, the game looks great. The city is pretty big as well, much like Spider-Man 2's city was.
But there is a slight difference here. In Spider-Man 2, you had things you could do outside of the main story. You could go to the arcade, you could deal with random events in the city, you could even deliver pizzas. Hell, even finding the question mark icons was fun.
Ultimate Spider-Man's world seems very blank and empty. It would be like if I made it. Sure, the city looks nice, but everything just blends together. Nothing really sticks out, like a Disturbed album. And as I mentioned, it's fairly empty. The only things you can do outside of the story is fight people, race, and find collectibles. On the surface, this seems much like what you could do in Spider-Man 2, but it's different. Firstly, the combat is much weaker than in Spider-Man 2. It's just a button masher. Nothing really changes. Sure, that's how a lot of beat-em-ups are, but it's done very poorly here. While it's cool to see Spider-Man zip-zopping around kicking goons in the face, you're really only hitting square repeatedly while aiming who you punch at. There are no special combos you can do, not that many special moves in general, and it's just kind of boring. You do unlock a longer combo, hitting an enemy with your normal attack 4 times instead of 3, 5 times instead of 4, but that's pretty much it. You also have to web enemies once you knock them down to keep them down, which can be slightly annoying when enemies are in large groups.
Or you can do what I like to do.
You can throw people off of buildings and they won't get up ever. Also, as you continue on in the game, the thugs become more and more difficult to fight, which is what a lot of games do, but it's not done in a good way like in, say, the Arkham games, where enemies gradually have more things to combat against. These enemies just get harder hitting weapons and block infinitely.
You have to get lucky when you're fighting these guys. There's no rhyme, there's no reason. And unlike the Arkham games, when somebody's blocking your attack and you have a way to get around it, like jumping on their shield to knock it away, or jumping behind an enemy, you're just tapping square until dies. You just have to get lucky. Oh, I hope I hit this guy this time. Nope, guess I'll try again. It's obnoxious.
Venom's combat is very similar. You have a claw attack, which is your heavy attack. You have a tendril attack, which does less damage but is ranged. And you can grab enemies. You can break their backs. Bane. But overall, fighting with Venom is much more fun because enemies don't block every attack.
Venom also has an interesting mechanic. Your health drops over time, and you have to eat the innocent bystanders in each level to keep it up, because enemies don't really fill that much. You get introduced to this early on during a cutscene where they have you...
They have you eat a kid. They have you eat a kid.
What the fuck were they thinking? Eat a kid, devour his life essence, and spit him out like the trash that 5-year-old probably is. Sorry, lady, I need to consume your child. You were done with that, right? And you know what's super f***ed up? Kids give you the most health. Who made this game? Jeffrey Dahmer? Anyway, outside of a child being slaughtered like it's a Cannibal Corpse song, how does the game do with its story?
Well, maybe this will answer your question. I beat the game in 3 hours, which is pitifully short for a video game, and I honestly had no idea what was going on in the story half the time. There's apparently an overarching narrative of Spider-Man trying to find out what happened to his dad, which I totally forgot about while playing. The most notable thing is that Eddie Brock gets captured and is forced to try and control the suit, which doesn't really happen until near the end of the game. Throughout the game, you fight guys like Electro,
Come on, let's do this!
Rhino,
Hey you! Is that a rhinoceros horn, or you just happy to be to see? I am so scared I can't even finish my lame joke.
Iron Man, the Hulk, Silver Sable, and even Carnage makes an appearance. It felt like random villains were thrown in just for the sake of throwing them in. A lot of the villains didn't really have much to do with the actual story, in my opinion.
There's also this bald guy whose name I can't really remember.
It's Toombs. Now listen. Listen to me. I'm in Queens and listen!
Could you stop moving like that? You're kinda creepy.
I saw the suit. You heard me? Yes. The suit.
And why don't your words match your mouth? This isn't a Godzilla movie.
If I had to put this game into a word, it would be boring, which is an unforgivable sin in a game. I'd rather be angry than bored while playing a game. At least that means the game warrants some response. But most of the time, I'm just trudging through the levels with no real enjoyment.
Sure, sometimes there's something cool you do as Venom, or there's something funny in the cutscenes. But if the cutscenes are more enjoyable than the actual game, then what's the point? I can watch the Super Bowl for the exact same response. What's the point in playing a game that has you do the same thing over and over and over and over and over again? And that's all this game is.
Go here, fight these guys, chase scene, do random city events, race mission, chase mission, fight these guys. Now fight these guys as Venom, go here, fight goons, chase scene. It never ends. This game sucks. It's repetitive, it's choppy, and it just isn't fun. I regret picking it up to play again.
Hopefully the new Spider-Man game next year is a lot better than this piece of garbage. My name is Will. Good night. Good luck. And I'm hungry.